The title of this webinar is ITIL 4 with the count of 7. So the idea is to discuss all the major components of ITIL 4 in a simplistic manner. It becomes very simple, and then able to relate the major components of the ITIL 4 in a very efficient and a very subtle manner. Have the basics of the ITIL 4, discussing all the major components, and will also be able to connect the dots efficiently. And just wanted to give you a couple of minutes of very basic understanding of service management. And to make it more efficient, I would like to prefer to talk even a project management for a couple of minutes. Constructing a house until we come to the housewarming ceremony is a project. And we need to have the project management skills and aptitude to build a house. But once the house is done, and when we start living inside, we need to maintain and then support the house as long as we live there. That all comes under business as usual. And in a typical sense of IT, we call it as production environment or operations. So if you really look into this, constructing house falls under the project management category, wherein the business as usual falls under this service management. So with this understanding, let us start with the slides. The first thing is about the count of 0 to 7, right? So the first thing is about 0 and 1. I will be focusing on about these numbers 0 and 1. I will park these numbers aside and to explain about the significance of these numbers in case of ITIL 4. Number 2 denotes the two major concepts of ITIL 4. And across the ITIL 4, including the intermediate modules, the focus of the entire ITIL would be the two major concepts of building a value system, and then how the 4 dimensions are going to play a crucial role in all of these 5 components. Hence, we say there are 2 major concepts. Number 3 talks about the 3 elements of governance. Governance is invariably part of one of the major concepts called service value system. However, we will talk about the governance very little bit here. Even in the ITIL 4 publications, the coverage of governance has been limited. And most of you are aware that there is an alternative framework which is very, very popular globally called COBIT, which is an ISACA offering. And COBIT 5 and the recently released COBIT 2019 are covering the enterprise governance area. Hence, we simply connect the dots and then recommend the user to go and study the deeper dynamics of the COBIT 5 in case they want to understand the enterprise governance. Number 4 refers to the dimensions. And I'm sure most of you have exposure to the older versions of ITIL. And in the previous versions, if you remember, there was something called 4P, P as in Papa. So the P stands for 4 P's: people, process, products, and partners. Those 4P concept has been slightly modified, or I must say that some addition, some modification, some concepts remain same. With those cosmetics, the 4 dimensions have been reintroduced into ITIL 4. Number 5 refers to the 5 components of the service value system. In fact, the service value system itself is one of the important part of number 2. When I said 2 denotes 2 major concepts, one of the major concept itself is nothing but 5 components of the value system. And the second major concept is 4 dimensions. We will see the diagram so that we appreciate and understand this better. Number 6 refers to the 6 activities of service value chain. I'll talk about the details about this when we arrive to that particular slide. Number 7 refers to guiding principles. There are 7 guiding principles. And also the number 7 also signifies the 7 steps in the continual service improvement model. So having this introduction of the numbers from 0 to 7, I would like to now get deeper inside the slides. Number 2, as I mentioned, is all about the ITIL 4 is focused on 2 major concepts. So those 2 major concepts, I'll talk about it. Having said this, let us now look into the 2 major concepts of ITIL 4. The 2 major concepts of the ITIL 4 are, one is 4 dimensions, the second one is service value system. We are going to discuss little more elaborative about the dimensions and service value system in the subsequent slides. However, many people usually ask why dimensions have been pulled out of a system, why dimensions need to be discussed separately, why can't it become another component of SVS, that is service value system, to make that 5 components into 6 components. Well, the idea is, well, we have the 5 components of service value system. I will read out later, like guiding principles, etc., etc. However, in all of those 5 components, these 4 dimensions are going to play a very key and important role. So when all these 5 components of service value system are going to consume the 4 dimensions, there is no point keeping dimensions as part of SVS. Rather, discussing that as a separate major concept is vital. Besides, the entire practice guides that are going to be released, or some of them are already released, will be covering for each process or each practice into the 4 dimensions categories. So I don't want to confuse you too much here. Please be understood the 2 number denotes the 2 major concepts of ITIL 4, such as dimensions and the service value system. Next, number 3. In fact, I should have directly jumped into the detailed, probably little elaborate discussions about dimensions and service value system. But since we are counting the numbers, I just want to go by the sequence with which I would like to connect to the number 3, which is referring to the 3 important elements of governance. And I think I mentioned briefly about the enterprise level governance offered by COBIT 5 and COBIT 2019. The 3 important activities that they are going to perform as part of the enterprise governance would be evaluate, monitor, and direct. Now, where to start with? Well, it is little cyclic, where you cannot say that this is the particular starting point. But imagine if you insist where to start, then I would prefer to go start with the evaluate, where the board of directors are expected to evaluate the stakeholder needs and choose appropriate needs, and those chosen stakeholder needs eventually be translated into the directions and policies, and in the form of policies, and then given to the management. And a period of quarterly basis, or probably once in a half yearly basis, they will come back and monitor whether the organization direction is what they have guided in the form of policies or not. And then any course corrections are required, they will perform direct. So that EDM, very popularly known as evaluate, direct, and monitor, are the 3 elements of governance. Number 4 is naturally for dimensions. And I mentioned clearly that these dimensions are nothing but revamped or probably refurbished concept of 4 Ps, which we already knew in case you have already certified in the previous sessions, previous versions, that were 4 P stands for people, process, products, and partners. Now, when we come to the 4 dimensions, which are slightly remodified, you can see here the first dimension, which is reflecting in the hexagon as organization and people. By and large, it remains to be the one of the component of the 4 Ps of people, but in addition to the people, we have added organization. Organization, there is a clear-cut definition given in the ITIL 4 publication. Organization essentially means is people working together, having relationships, roles, and authorities are clearly defined. I repeat, relationships, roles, and authorities are clearly defined. Without such a definition, we simply call that as a bunch of people or a group of people. Only when we have these three things, relationships, authorities, and roles are defined, it becomes an organization. So providing the organization structure without having any blame games and then firefighting induced in the form of a RACI model, etc., we are constructing an organization, and those roles will be filled with the people with appropriate skill set. And this time in ITIL 4, a significant amount of importance has been given for the skill of the people and also the attitude of the people, because there might be some people who are great in creativity, but then may not be suitable for a routine operational repeatable tasks. So we need to choose the right attitude people as well. That is being talked about, organization and people. The second dimension is information and technology. If you have noticed the 4 P's, where we were talking about 1 P as a people that is covered, the second P is essentially nothing but products. What exactly it is meant in the previous version as well, product means that is actually an inclusion of both hardware and software. So that they just wanted to ensure that the technological part of the software and hardware part of has been significantly covered. However, today, as we are moving into the digital world where information has become currency. Now, we have seen the days where we use the physical currency notes and coins. Then we moved to the plastic currency in the form of credit cards, debit cards. And nowadays we are using the smartphone enabled payment banking systems with all the wallets and the smartphones, etc. And then Bitcoin is also on the rise with all blockchain technology, etc. With that, it has been quickly realized that well, technology is important, but what is more important, rather, what business is ready to pay for is not for the technology, but for the information. Hence, the product has been added with information. The third dimension is about the partners and supplier. If you ask me, from the previous version, which of the particular dimension did not change much, I would prefer to call this as a third dimension, which is partners and supplier. And especially going forward, no single organization will have 100% capability to run an organization and deliver services and products to anybody and everybody just like that. In that context, dealing with partners, dealing with vendors, third party, both for product vendors, service vendors, whatnot, all this that is covered here. And especially in the case of service management, it is impossible to deliver an end-to-end service without interacting with more than one vendors. So when all of them coming together, working together, only then we will be able to enable this. And there is also one more framework called SIAM, S-I-A-M, which is Service Integration and Management. That can also be a great help in case if you are working with multi-vendor platforms. Finally, the last dimension is about the value stream and processes. And again, you can see that the fourth P, as we mentioned, people, process, products, and partner. The second P that we mentioned in the previous version, process, has come to this as a fourth dimension. The interesting addition, I must say, is value stream. In fact, this is really fantastic from my perspective, my view, because I have been with ITSM related trainings, consulting, and tool-specific implementations for the past 10, 15 to 12 years. I have never seen such a drastic change that has been made to ITIL process flows, value stream. I'm not saying that it is innovated by ITIL authors. No, this concept has been there quite some time in the name of different names, probably in the case of lean methodologies. And then there's a most important, there's something called value stream mapping, which is again predominantly brought into the agile techniques and DevOps techniques, etc. I'll quickly give you an example and then move on. We must have seen the support environment. And one thing for sure that we must all have been familiar with is incident management. Every time a ticket is raised, it is logged, it is categorized, it is prioritized, it is escalated appropriately, and after the assignment of the right team, it is resolved. With a confirmation from the user, it is closed. Now the point is, across all these gametes, when it is moving, we are not going to stick to this process for every damn ticket that we create in our ticketing tool. In fact, many times it so happens in the middle of this process journey, we have to jump out of the process and create a problem ticket. We have to jump out of the incident management process and create a change ticket to resolve the issue. So essentially the series of steps that is taken up by a team or multiple teams to resolve an incident sometimes involve more than one processes. In that context, focusing on only process will not give us the big picture. So the big picture is endorsed and then referred in ITIL 4 as value stream. That's about the 4 dimensions. Then now let's look into the number 5. The number 5 refers to the 5 components of the service value system. And these 5 components are arranged in this particular manner. And we can see here the service value system having the 5 components, which is part of the service value system. Now let's look at this, the guiding principles, the governance, the service value chain, the practices, and the continual improvement. When we were talking about the governance and its 3 elements of it, such as evaluate, direct, and monitor, isn't it that we are wondering where exactly it fits in? Now look at this diagram. The 5 components, one of the component of this value system is nothing but governance. The idea of this component system, when we say system, is that it is giving the enterprise level view. We also have one important component in the middle of this is called service value chain. The problem is it is sounding very close to the service value system, except that system and chain, everything remains same. But be sure that the chain is very well understood. Otherwise, this is very often confusing. Service value system focuses at the enterprise level, wherein service value chain focuses on the operating model. It is an operating model rather. So now we are going to briefly touch upon each one of the component of these 5 guiding principles: governance, service value chain, practices, and continual improvement, etc. So naturally, we are discussing the number 5. So we will quickly connect back that we are not disconnected with respect to number 3. Number 3 is nothing but the service value system component, which has got 3 elements inside this. And we know that it is nothing but evaluate, monitor, and direct. And since we have discussed it, covered it up, I do not want to get details of it. Shall we move forward? Okay. Next, number 6 denotes to the 6 activities of service value chain. That is actually part of the service value system, and the service value chain has been shown absolutely in the heart of the service value system, which is number 6. And what exactly is service value chain? What is a service value chain? And you might be having a question that, you know, in the previous versions, we had been discussing about the 5 life cycle stages. If you remember, service strategy, service design, service transition, service operations, and continual service improvement. And many of you might be wondering, in case if you have not yet exposed to ITIL 4, what happened to those 5 life cycle stages? There are so many good things about it. And if you are coming up with ITIL 4 and do not want to discuss about life cycle, then where should all those good go away and eventually come back into ITIL 4? The answer to this question, what happened to the 5 life cycle stages of the previous version? The good news is they came back to ITIL 4 in the new form, which we call it as 6 activities of service value chain. Okay, they are shown like this. And this particular concept of 6 activities very much part and parcel of the service value system. And you know that in the previous slide I have shown, where all 5 components are shown, the service value chain is absolutely at the center of the service value system. What exactly it is? These are the 6 activities of the service value chain, where we have the first activity as the plan, the second activity engage, the third activity improve, which are actually kept on the frame of this entire concept. And absolutely in the middle of it, we have a cube, which is showing 3 phases of it. And the 4th activity is nothing but design and transition. The 5th activity is nothing but obtain and build. And 6th activity is nothing but deliver and support. Interestingly, If you notice, the so-called 5 life cycle stages of the previous version strategy, we may not have the same name here under the 6 activities of service value chain, but everything that is discussed under the plan, the first activity, is nothing but everything that is discussed in the service strategy. Like the plan will focus on the portfolios, the plan will focusing on the demand side, demand calculation, the plan would focus on the financial dynamics of it, and it ensures that overall organization has a vision and the current status, and also the direction for the improvement is very clear. That is all about the plan. So I do not hesitate to connect the plan service value chain activity with the service strategy. The interesting part about second activity is engage. Despite the fact that we did not have a formal stage in the previous version of those 5 life cycle as an engagement stage per se, but we have assumed or probably thought invariably that all 5 life cycle stages of the previous version had this engagement constantly going on. However, they thought now that an engage must be a separate activity, so that has been a brand new addition in addition to what we understood in the 5 life cycle stages. The third one, I think I don't need to explain. If you remember CSI, continual service improvement, the third activity on the frame is directly connecting the dots with the CSI. Coming back to the cube in the inside, the fourth activity is nothing but design and transition. And if you are familiar with the previous version, no surprises, just that the service design and service transition used to be 2 different stages. Now that they have been combined into one segment. Probably, I am hoping that this could also be one of the reasons why this revision of ITIL 4 is largely also influenced by COBIT 5 and COBIT 2019 understanding. Hence, the combination of design and transition happened here. And having obtain and build as a 5th activity, if you remember, this particular activity was an integral part of the transition where we thought that the transition would take care of build, test, and deploy. However, we have segregated now into the 5th dynamics because transition is predominantly about the organization readiness and moving one status to the other status, or probably from one vendor to other vendor. So that transition is more restricted to now a limited meaning rather than building and test. And that context, the obtain and build has been separated and segregated. And finally, when I look into the 6th activity of service value chain, no surprises at all for guessing, because this clearly identifies the service operations part of it. And interestingly, if you notice, there is a blue color box on the extreme right-hand side that is nothing but products and services. Interestingly, ITIL believes now that we are not delivering, we as a service provider, not delivering value to anybody. In fact, as a service provider, we always prefer to deliver something in the form of a product or something in the form of a service. We don't deliver value because we cannot hold value. It's not a subjective or it's not object that we need to hold it. Eventually, when we deliver our products and services upon consumption, when the user or the consumer feels that the outcomes are being met and the expectations are absolutely exceeded, and experiences have been very professional, in that context of it, they realize and they feel the value being enabled rather than simply value being delivered by the the service provider. So products and services will take a very objective shape. Eventually, value has taken a more subjective understanding. The more and more value the consumer gets realized, the more and more demand will increase for the product and services. That's been shown with the arrow mark right here, where it is showing value arrow mark going back all the way, again going back to the demand pattern. That's all the point is. Let's move on to number 7. Number 7 refers to the 2 important concepts. In fact, one is about the 7 guiding principles. I mentioned briefly about the significance of guiding principles, and especially this happened with the 2016 release, which was known as ITIL practitioner publication. In that book, the guiding principles were highlighted. In fact, the number were little higher. There were 9 principles. Now it has cut down to 7. I must say that ITIL publication, the practitioner was really practical. The templates, the precise dynamics of KPIs, etc., were fantastic. However, it couldn't pick up enough momentum. The guiding principles were the one of the best part happened to that, and they were being replicated into ITIL 4. The first one being the focus on value. I think whenever we talk about services, and we knew that the definition of service today stands as the value co-creation being enabled between service consumer and provider, I think everybody must focus on value. Not only the service provider today, even consumer has a responsibility in enabling the value. So focus on value is the first principle. It is reasonably consistent even from the previous version's point of view. The second one is about start where you are. Basically, this is as much as recommending us to reuse of the products. In fact, reuse, recycle, there's a concept of it, right? So how much we can use the code elsewhere in modifying a different product or creating an innovative product. So first start where you are. Try to look at the processes, tools, and people that can be reused elsewhere. Otherwise, only then you can think about procuring as a new thing. So this is a very wonderful thing, basically focusing on the reuse of the resources of the organization. The third one is about progress iteratively with feedback. Iterative and incremental have been brought into this principle where we say progress iteratively with the feedback loops is very important. So this itself is a clear indication. ITIL 4 is more focusing on the flexibility, adaptability, and delivering the features in an incremental manner. The fourth guiding principle is collaborate and promote visibility. I think by and large, most of the times when we were talking about the CAB meetings or any major incident occurring, opening a bridge call is nothing but it's following the particular principle called collaborate and promote visibility, where we try to share the information as much as possible so that the things are visible and then solutions are overflowing. The fifth one is about think and work holistically. And especially these days, if you notice, friends, a lot of promotion happening with respect to the design thinking. And also there's a alternative famous popular framework for the architecture is called TOGAF. So this particular principle of thinking holistically, etc., is about keeping the end in the mind whenever you're starting something, and also engage the operational staff while designing it, because it's not just about creating a state-of-the-art fantastic architecture, but if it is not easy to maintain, not easy to support, then no matter how big, how great the design is, it is still be not efficient to be used in this, and then it will not be well supported. So that's about the fifth principle. And the sixth principle is about keep it simple and practical. Needless to say, if you have been into the Six Sigma and lean practices, so this is nothing new to you. It's all about keeping it simple and practical, eliminating the waste, and then focusing on the right things just in time. Yeah. The last one, the need of the hour. In fact, all of us are actually seeing it. And then it's a kind of turbulences in our careers, and then also good, bad, ugly things. But automation has led to a lot of insecurities in terms of the job loss, etc., etc. But I firmly believe that anybody who is open for learning, open for improvement, open for understanding, and then hands-on trying the new technologies, no one should be bothered much about it. So optimize and automate is the seventh principle. So these are the very quick introductions of all the 7 guiding principles in the form of continual improvement. And when I show the diagram, you will not be surprised, because in the previous version, we had seen similar diagram. However, we remember there were only 6 steps. But now they have added one more step to call it as the 7 steps in the continual service improvement model of service value system. We all knew that what is the vision, where are we now, where do we want to be, how do we get there. Now look at this, the take action. The 5th step, take action, has been added in ITIL 4 to make the number 6 of the previous version into the 7 steps of the continual service improvement model. And then did we get there? If you look at the sequence of it, there are only 6 boxes. However, the most important and then very critical step, that is number 7, is about how do we keep the momentum going. So now let me talk about it. What is the vision? Let us take a small example. This is my favorite example. Let us say for my height, I must maintain 72 kgs. So my vision is to maintain 72 kgs. But what is my current weight? When I stand up on the weighing machine, it shows 93. From 93 to 72, there is a journey of reducing 21 kgs with an appropriate time scale. So I would like to keep it as a timely targets where I say, okay, next 4 months, I will become cautious about reducing my weight from 93 to 72. In such case, the first 1 month I reduce by 6 kgs, second month 6 kgs, third month 6 kgs, fourth month 3 kgs. Likewise, I break down the entire journey of 4 months into 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 3 kgs, and measuring this entire definable, the SMART goals is all about the third step. How do we get there? So the dietitian or a nutrition might give us a plan, including a gym instructor. So we have a food plan, we have a workout plan, but plan is good on paper unless until it is acted upon. Following the plan of both food eating habits as well as the workout plans. And eventually, as a 6th step, at the end of the 4th month, when I stand up on the weighing machine, the 2 possibilities. One is I must have reduced from 93 to 72, or I must have remained 93 as it is. So there is a 2 extreme possibilities. Imagine that if I have reduced to 72, that's a cloud 9 moment and this happy moment for all of us. So we would like to celebrate it. But if you fall back into the old practices because we have achieved it, then very sooner or later we will go back to the 93 kgs. So it's important to ensure that we keep the momentum going and continue to instill the food habits and the workout habits as a habits of life that would sustain the improvements. Imagine the same case with the moving of employee satisfaction or a customer satisfaction on the scale of 0 to 5, which is your current score is 2, you want to improve it from 2 to 3. Itself could be a journey of 7 steps of continual service. There is one more important factor, is called practices. And unfortunately, when I started counting 0 to 7, I could have fit in most of the major components except this, because practices are not 7, 8, 9, but there are 34 practices. Just to make sure that I go all the way to 34, I cannot afford to cook so many numbers with so many concepts of ITIL4. It's impossible. So I said that, okay, it's fine. But only respite I can say that even if you look at the 34, by any chance, if you want to add this 2 digits, the number turns out to be 7. Hence 0 to 7 count would still be for my comfort. I feel that way. So that's about it. Otherwise, practices, if you're hearing for the first time, my friends, remember, they are nothing but processes. There were 26 processes in the previous version. 5 processes under strategy, 8 under design, 7 under transition, 5 under service operation, 1 under continual service improvement. In addition to that 26, they have added 8 more processes to make the number into 34. However, they prefer to call them as a practices, not as a process. Why they wanted to call it as a practice, not as a process? Does it mean that process doesn't exist in the ITIL4? Well, the answer is no. Both process and practice exist. We are not replacing processes with practices in ITIL4. Both of them have 2 places. So in order to understand this thing, I think we need to have one more webinar. Probably with the next webinar, we will keep the topic as why practices in place of processes. We'll discuss that later. Otherwise, the number are 34. Again, I'm connecting the dots. There are 2 major concepts. What are they? One is 4 dimensions. Other is the 5 components of the service value system. The 4 dimensions are 4 dimensions we know. So let us quickly break down the 5 components. The first of the component of the service value system is 3 elements of governance, which is nothing but EDM. Then we have 6 service value chain activities. That is the second component of service value system. The third component is guiding principles, which are having 7 guiding principles. And the fourth component is nothing but the continual service improvement steps. Again, there are 7. And finally, the 5th component is nothing but practices, that has got 34 numbers. So if you look at this overall 0 to 7, all those numbers have been very sequentially, very consistently fit in, and that is the big picture. That is the overall picture about it. But I'm sure you must be having one strong question, and you are craving to ask this question, is that, well, you have discussed every bloody number except 0, 1. Well, frankly speaking, I do not have any concept connected to 0, 1, except that, just in case if you decide to take ITIL 4 foundation exam, there are 40 multiple choice questions, and each question has an ability to give you either 0 or 1. That's it. So on a funny side, that is the conclusion of my session.